you should have in front of you the notes that say cell cycle and mitosis notes S for standard. We are only going to do the first page in this recording. The colored bolded terms are the words that you're going to put inside the blank lines. So we're talking about here a type of reproduction. So how do you get taller, and why does your hair grow? Why does your skin, eventually your skin can, if you scrape your skin, you can actually see where you've removed some of the skin cells, but you haven't drawn blood. So what happens in all that stuff? So we're looking at how cells reproduce themselves. So first of all, the cell cycle refers to the life of a cell from birth to death. In other words, the cell cycle is to a cell as a lifespan is to a human being. We all have a birthday. We will all have a death date. And the cell cycle is in two parts. Interphase, which is the longest part, and it's the part of the cycle where your cells do their normal function. For example, your eye cells, well, they see for you. Your stomach cells in this picture, they will make your stomach acid for you. And your brain cells, of course, help you think and respond to your environment. The other part of the cell cycle is called mitosis, and that's when the cell itself, a cell in your eyeball, a cell in your stomach, actually splits in half. Okay, that's a type of reproduction. Okay, this white block is actually in your notes, and you can fill in the bolded purple terms. This is the cell cycle. All cells have the same thing, although the cell cycle is a different length for every type of cell. So interphase is these broken down into these first three pieces. So if this were a pizza pie, this would be 3 out of the 4 pieces are in interphase, which includes G1, which is the first growth phase, where the cell grows up from a baby into a big, strong cell, and it does whatever it's supposed to do, like your cells in your eyes are letting you see this video right now. Then S phase comes. It's also part of interphase, stands for synthesis, and this is when the DNA replicates or copies itself. Because if the cell's going to split and make 2 cells, each cell needs a set of our DNA. The final part of interphase is G2. That's the second growth phase, where the cell actually prepares to divide. And it actually has a checklist, kind of like you going on vacation. You got to change clothes, you got to take your toothbrush, and things like that. When the checklist is complete, the cell will enter M phase, which is the second part of the cell cycle. And that's where it will divide. So interphase is 3 out of these 4 pieces. Mitosis, or M phase, is only 1 of the pieces. So the question is, why do cells have different lengths of the cycle? Well, your stomach cells only live for 3 days. But brain cells, they live as long as you do. So why would a stomach cell live for only 3 days and a brain cell lives for your whole life? Well, the stomach is a pretty harsh environment. That stomach acid likes to eat things, to digest things. So that's why cells have the shortest lifespan in the body. Your brain cells, you need to remember now and 50 years from now how to tie your shoes. So your brain cells, they live forever. Okay? And we'll write this down. There's a spot in there for your notes. Just worry about, we'll write that down on Monday. Okay? Now, there's sometimes you can have errors in the cell cycle. Step 1 and 2. Okay. Errors in the cell cycle. Okay? So we're down at Roman numeral 2. Well, this is how cancer works. Okay, you have to have some errors. A cancer, you probably already know, like a tumor, is a whole bunch of cells blobbed all together. Big old fat tumor, and they have to take it out. Well, there's errors that cause that. First, the first error is a mutation causes the cell to never die. A cell is supposed to die. A stomach cell dies after 3 days. If it's still alive 6 months later, that's very dangerous. That could lead to cancer. So the first step in getting to cancer or a tumor is the cell loses its ability to die. So here is what happens. Here's 3 cells. This cell goes through mitosis and makes a clone of itself. But it doesn't die. It keeps living, and that clone makes another clone. It has another baby, and that baby also is not good. So this leads to the second step. The second error that happens to make a tumor is cells lose the ability to feel their neighbors like this cell does, and it begins to grow. It continues in mitosis and makes cells that grow one on top of the other on top of the other and grow and grow and grow until you get this big thing called tumors. Now, tumors can be one of 2 things. They can be not cancerous or cancerous. If they're not cancer, they're called benign. This G is ignored. It's silent. So if you have a benign tumor, usually doctors will take it out because they're worried to get a tumor, you already have to have an error. See these little red marks? Those are errors. So even though it's not cancer yet, if they can, they want to try to take out that tumor, just in case. Benign tumors sometimes can turn into cancer. A malignant tumor is what we call cancer, and that's what these are. And these tumors are extra bad because they've sent out these little fibers. They're looking for blood. They're trying to get to a bloodstream, and they're trying to get to food, and they're going to steal food from your good, healthy cells to grow them. And these are big tumors. Okay? But again, not all tumors are cancer. Okay? So some tumors actually are not cancerous. Okay, that ends the whole first page of your notes, and that's where we're going to stop with this recording.